This is easily the most important week on the waiver wire so far this season, so let's break it down right now, talking about the 5 running backs that you need to add before your friends do. And we'll start with a guy who I know already in the comment section, people are going to say, this guy's not available in my league, and that's fine, but Trey Benson is still available in over 50% of Yahoo leagues. That's what I'm currently using for this right now, just to kind of get a gauge on who's still out there. And honestly, so far through 2 weeks, we told you last week, Trey Benson, if he's not available in your league, go trade for him because he's been highly efficient and the usage is only continuing to increase each and every week. Now that each and every week was just 2 weeks, but you could see right here, Trey Benson quietly led this backfield with a 12% target share through the first 2 weeks of the season and saw career high usage through a 2-game stretch with James Conner healthy during that time. 40% of the snaps. In week 2, he had a career high 6 targets. Only had 6 targets all of last year. In week 1, he saw the second most usage that he's ever seen. Then week 2, he sees the most usage he's ever seen. And on this usage, Trey Benson was producing 5.6 yards per carry. Led the NFL in yards per touch. Oh, let's go down even more. Yards created was averaging over 7 yards created per touch. Again, it's a small sample and you have a 50-yard run in week 1 that's going to skew this, but still number 1 there. So they gave him even more and more opportunities. And then we go into week 3 and we see a big shift happen because obviously, if you're watching this, James Conner suffered a bad injury. Trey Benson led the backfield, 10 carries, 42 yards. And then you scroll down here, Trey Benson also picks up 3 more receptions. This is a guy who last year, 3 receptions would have been the most he had all season long. Just got that in week 3 alone. And that was after having 4 receptions in week 2, right? But the big news here is what happened to his teammate, the veteran running back who has always been so good when healthy with Arizona, and James Conner. Conner went down in the second half, early in the second half, with it looked like an ankle injury. Some people said knee. You could see right here, according to SportsMD analysis, high concern for season-ending injury. It was a knee plus ankle, both at risk. Basically, what he was saying there is that both of them were twisting when this happened, which is, when that normally happens, a good chance that something is happening with either both the knee and the ankle, or at least, or very least, the ankle is going to have a severe injury with it. So prayers up for James Conner, but you could see right here, once he leaves the game, according to Ryan Heath on Twitter, Trey Benson saw 75% of the backfield carries and the only goal line touch, including a nearly 7% target share. Amari DiMercado sees 25% of the carries, nearly a 7% target share. Now, in past seasons, Amari DiMercado was basically the third down back. He operated in passing downs. So we'll see moving forward, does Trey Benson get that usage? It looks like Benson is now easily, as you can see right here, and really just the last couple of weeks, going to get the early down usage, 75% of the carries once Conner left the game. But what's going to happen on those third downs? And the real reason why is Trey Benson is a must-add no matter what. We're heading into week 4. If you have like $60 left in your fab, put all 60 of it on Trey Benson because he's literally the best player out there on the waivers, probably for the rest of the season. But if we could get that third down, 2-minute offense, passing down usage out of Trey Benson, and he goes from being like an early down grinder to also getting this target share as well all season long, he's going to be an absolute smash moving forward, easily a top 20 running back in fantasy. Because we already know what James Conner was doing in that role, right? James Conner never even really had like the full overall workload from a target share perspective, but he was getting 230 carries last year in this role. You scroll over to his receptions, 47 receptions in this role last year is kind of the workhorse in this offense. That contributed to him being a top 20 running back in back-to-back seasons. He was on his way to being a top 20 running back again this year. Unfortunately, he does suffer that injury. So now if you're going to slide Trey Benson, who we already showed you is very efficient this year, has been seeing more targets at least through the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season, and in general is the younger, more explosive back than James Conner at this stage in his career, good things can happen. It basically will just come down to what is Amari DiMercado's role, to the point is Trey Benson just going to be like a top 25, top 30 running back, right, the rest of the season, or is he going to be like a top 15 back? That's going to depend on how much Amari DiMercado is involved. But now that we have bye weeks approaching in week 5 and for the weeks after that, Trey Benson is somebody that right now deserves the rest of your fab. I don't care if you've been stashing all your fab and you have $97 left, put all 97 of that on Trey Benson right now. If you look ahead to the rest of season schedule, or at least the upcoming schedule, it's a pretty tough one for sure. Seahawks look like maybe the best defense in the NFL. Titans defenses look good. Packers defenses look good. They get the Seahawks again, but then they have matchups against the Colts and the Cowboys. So overall, it's going to be a tough sledding for the Arizona Cardinals, who at this point, their secondary is banged up. Their offense doesn't look all that great. They're probably going to be trailing in games. So we probably do need Benson to keep seeing 3, 4, 5 catches a game to get that value in half PPR and PPR formats if they're going to be playing from behind. But I'm fine spending on the talented second-year player now that he's going to get more opportunities. And I'm also fine spending on Woody Marks. And there's a pretty good chance that this 4th-round rookie for the Houston Texans, you don't have to spend a lot of money on, because everybody's going to be unloading their wallets on Trey Benson. So if you're somebody who maybe he's not available in your league, or you want everybody else to spend all the money, you could probably get Woody Marks for a couple bucks. If you're not familiar, last year at USC, Woody Marks goes for over 1,100 yards. He goes for 9 touchdowns. But the thing that he was most known for in college football, between Mississippi State and USC, one of the best pass catching running backs we've probably ever seen in college. Look at these receptions per year. 83 is insane, 48, 23, and then another 27 last year despite tougher competition at USC. Woody Marks is somebody that he has all the skill sets. He's able to run the ball on early downs. He's obviously a pass catching running back. And in the preseason and so far in the NFL, we've seen glimpses of solid pass protection, which is somewhat rare for a 4th round rookie. Basically, he has the versatility that really nobody else in this backfield has. Like if we're talking about this backfield right now, Nick Chubb, we already know. And by the way, there's a reason why I like Woody Marks. It's not just because of this college stats. I'm just giving you a little bit of a refresher here. It's because Woody Marks' role is increasing. We're about to show you that. But Nick Chubb is not a passing down back. He's an early down grinder. We already know that. Same thing for Dameon Pierce. They model out very similarly. And Pierce at this point has basically not been active, right? Dare Ogunbowale is somebody who is known as a 3rd down back. He's a satellite back. That's basically why he's remained in the NFL, though Woody Marks, I would say, is a younger, more explosive player. And as of right now, Joe Mixon remains on IR, with currently, as of this recording, no positive updates about Joe Mixon's status. We haven't got, oh, he's definitely going to be back week 5. We haven't heard anything. The last update we got was going into week 2, and they were like, we'll just wait and see once we get there, right? Like, so there's nothing positive coming out about this Joe Mixon injury. And the reason why that's important is because the rookie Woody Marks continues to get positive trends very quietly. This past week, 6 carries, 27 yards. Okay, that's nothing crazy. Like, you look at that box score, your league mates look at that box score and go, that's nothing crazy. But the trend is trending up for Woody Marks. The trend is trending up, okay. Because in week 2, Dameon Pierce was a healthy scratch, meaning Woody Marks became the RB2 on this team back quickly as a 4th round running back. The coaches clearly trust him and value his versatility. And this past week in week 3, look at this. Nick Chubb, 33 snaps. Woody Marks, 30 snaps. It's basically a split backfield here. The only 2 running backs besides a fullback and Jacob Johnson to touch the ball on this team. What does that lead to? Again, it leads to the 9 carries for Nick Chubb. And when you factor in the receptions, 7 touches for Woody Marks. Again, Nick Chubb had a 25-yard touchdown in week 2 in primetime. People saw that. Other than that carry this year, he's been atrocious. Maybe atrocious is a little bit mean, but he's been highly inefficient and ineffective. Other than that carry, averaging less than 3 yards per touch on the year. So now when you're getting Woody Marks, seeing 48% of the snaps as soon as week 3, look, this offense doesn't look good. It's a bad offensive line. You know all these things. I'm telling you all these things if you don't know that. But at the end of the day, we're heading into week 4 where outside of Trey Benson, if somebody else gets him or he's not available, you're trying to get any type of value heading into those bye weeks. Woody Marks is somebody trending in the right direction. Younger player, aging veteran with injury history ahead of him, including Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb there. This is somebody you want to target on waivers. Now, you also want to target Ollie Gordon, who was like a must-add player heading into week 1 because Jalen Wright was hurt and Devon Achane was a little bit banged up with a calf injury, and then a lot of people ended up dropping Ollie Gordon these past couple of weeks, and for good reason. But in week 3, we saw some good glimpses. Now, before we get into what happened in week 3, just a reminder, Ollie Gordon was arguably the best running back in college football in 2023. I mean, he was right up there with like guys like Blake Corum, right? 1,700 yards. He had better overall numbers, though, in that season. Corum was coming off of an injury. 1,700 rushing yards, 6 yards per carry, an insane 22 touchdowns, and oh yeah, he also at Oklahoma State was a solid receiver. 39 receptions, 330 yards, 10% target share, but then he came into the 2024 season in college and he struggled. And then later came out that he was dealing with some sort of injuries, some knee injuries, things that weren't as highly reported, and that caused Ollie Gordon to see 100 less carries. He was way less efficient, just 4.5 yards per carry, doesn't even hit 1,000 yards, and he goes from being a certified first-round pick after his 2023 season to a guy who falls to the 4th round to the Miami Dolphins. Check that, he falls to the 6th round, early 6th round, 3rd overall pick in the 6th round to the Miami Dolphins, and obviously that's not great because he lands on a backfield where Jalen Wright and Devon Achane are there. Devon Achane, who in his first 2 years in the NFL was already a great running back. Jalen Wright, who was a rookie the year before that and showing flashes already, hoping to take a next step, had the speed, had the explosive breakaway run rate, so Ollie Gordon looked like he was buried. But then Jalen Wright gets hurt in the preseason and looks terrible in the preseason. Then Devon Achane ends up injuring his calf, and all of a sudden Ollie Gordon is getting more hype, but to start the year in weeks 1 and weeks 2, he doesn't really do anything. And then you come out in Thursday Night Football in week 3 and people forget about what happened on Thursday night, and he only sees 15 snaps in this game, only runs 4 routes. Devon Achane still the clear alpha here, 47 snaps out of a possible 61, 32 routes run, ends up seeing 10 targets, insane compared to 0 for Ollie Gordon, and you just look at it and you look at that and you go, okay, Ollie Gordon only had 18% of the snaps the first 2 weeks, only had a handful of carries. He remains somebody who should be on the waiver wires, but something happened in week 3 that's at least interesting to point out. Ollie Gordon on this little chart here from PFF is this dark green blurb. Ollie Gordon ended up seeing all 3 of the short yardage plays in this game, which was a new development, and he ended up seeing 2 out of 3 possible goal line plays. Now, the other reason why this is important, outside of him just becoming in this game, at least for one game, the goal line and short yardage back, is what's happening with Jalen Wright right now. In week 3 on Thursday Thursday night, Jalen Wright was actually active for this game and did not play. Ollie Gordon played over Jalen Wright. Now, maybe it was a short week. It was Thursday night. They were giving Jalen Wright one more week to show that he's healthy, but he didn't play. He was able to play in this game, and he did not suit up. Ollie Gordon played over him. So two things are working in Ollie Gordon's favor right now. He got a short yardage role. They trust him in this game, in a big game against a division rival of Buffalo Bills, and Jalen Wright returned and did not play over him, which means that Ollie Gordon, at least as of right now, is still the RB2 on this team, even seeing more high usage situations around the goal line, which he cashed in on Thursday night for a touchdown. So Ollie Gordon is not somebody you're going out there and spending 20% of your fab on, but he is somebody that shouldn't be on your waiver wires, especially in most 12-team formats right now, because again, Mike McDaniel could get fired any week. If the Dolphins go 0-4, McDaniel could get fired. New coaching staff comes in, and that coaching staff maybe comes out here and says, you know what, maybe we shouldn't give, if we scroll back up here to Devon Achan's usage, maybe we shouldn't give Devon Achan, a running back, 10 targets per game, right? Maybe we should get those to some other players. We shouldn't give him 10 targets per game. And then maybe the new coaching staff comes in and says, hey, Achan 75% of the snaps, let's give him 60%, give Ollie Gordon more touches, more of a big back, right? Achan could be the satellite, Gordon could be the right, these early down grinders. Maybe that's what happens if a new coach comes in, things can get mixed up. I would just say add Ollie Gordon, wait a couple of weeks and see what happens. Now, real quick, if you want to see where my top 50 overall players rank for week 4 so you can set your best possible lineups, you can check it out completely free right now at the link in the description below, or you can head to fantasyrankingsfree.com. That takes you to this page where you just enter your email. I send you the top 50 overall rankings. It's updated every single Thursday and Friday, not just for this week, by the way. The rest of the season, you'll have that, so you can have my flex rankings so you know exactly who you need to be starting. But if you want even more, if you want more than a top 50, you want my full top 150, you want my waiver wire tiers, which this video right here, it ranks every single player across all positions, my top 40 overall waiver wire tiers with positional fab recommendations and a whole lot more. Well, that's exactly why I built the Fantasy Blueprint. It's what I use in all my leagues, and over 10,000 people are currently using in theirs. You can check it out right now if you want to learn more at jointheblueprint.com. That is jointheblueprint.com, or with the link in the description below. All right, the next man up, and really the next men up, we have to talk about this situation happening right now in the Washington backfield with Austin Ekeler out. We got our first game. Ekeler got hurt in week 2 for the rest of the season. We got our first appearance with what the Washington Commanders backfield will look like, and it's kind of a little bit of a messy backfield right now, right? A lot of people thought it was going to be JCM, the exciting rookie. They trade away Brian Robinson in the offseason. Then right before the season starts, then Austin Ekeler goes down. Okay, the 7th round rookie JCM, who's getting a lot of hype, he must be the guy who's going to see all the touches, right? I mean, that's what makes sense right now. He's trending in the right direction. We're about to get 15 plus JCM touches, aren't we? Oh, I'm sorry, but not the case at all. At the end of the day, JCM was second in this backfield with 8 carries, but the actual leader in this backfield, Chris Rodriguez, who saw the first 5 running back carries in this game, 11 carries. Now, he only gets 35 yards, only 3.5 yards per carry, but the entire backfield struggled. Even JCM, Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, just 3.3 yards per attempt. Now, he did get a 1-yard touchdown in this game. He also did get a reception, which is not really his game. So he was able to salvage his day with 10 fantasy points, depending on your league scoring format, somewhere around there. But even Jeremy McNichols was involved. Now, he only had 4 carries, but he took one of them for a 60-yard touchdown. You probably saw the highlight. He broke a bunch of tackles. He was pretty impressive on that. So they like Jeremy McNichols. Jeremy McNichols was actually active over Chris Rodriguez the past couple of weeks. Then Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt's involved. Obviously, Marcus Mariota, and when Jaden Daniels comes back, is also mobile quarterbacks. 6 carries, 40 yards, and a rushing touchdown for Mariota in this one. So it's just a gross 3-headed backfield right now, and we were really hoping to get some clarity. So if you're somebody who's been on JCM, maybe you tried to trade for him, or you took him in like the 7th or 8th round of your draft for some reason, things don't look good right now. Here's how the snaps broke down. JCM led the way with 23 snaps, although he did not start. Chris Rodriguez, 22 snaps, and Jeremy McNichols had 15 snaps. And if we look at how the backfield was shaking out according to Player Profiler, Chris Rodriguez is in the blue right here, so he's just kind of being used in all different ways. Some goal line, some early down, some third down. Jeremy McNichols, though, here's his role. He has a clear role on this team right now. McNichols is the dark green, played all 4 snaps in the 2-minute offense, and played 6 out of a possible 7 snaps on third downs. So this is your passing down back. Chris Rodriguez is then splitting the early down usage with Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt. That's a disgusting place to be, because Chris Rodriguez actually started this game. He's an efficient runner, so you're going to tell me that 2 running backs, at least as of right now, what we saw in week 3, are splitting early down usage with a mobile quarterback, and then a passing down back, Jeremy McNichols. Disgusting. At the end of the day, I don't really want any of these guys on my team. Like, if I could pick, it's Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, but he's not available on waivers. Between Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols, I'll take Chris Rodriguez because he actually started this game and saw the first 5 carries and led the backfield with 11 carries. So I prefer him over Jeremy McNichols. If you're in a deeper league, both of them should be rostered at least right for now, or as of right now, because they're both seeing snaps in a good offense. For me, it's Chris Rodriguez. I'm probably leaving McNichols on a waiver wire if I'm in like, I don't know, a 10-team league. But if I'm in a 12-team league, 6-7 bench spots, you can pick him up and see what happens. Now, very quietly, Rico Dowdle is becoming a more important handcuff, and he's actually becoming a flex play weekly if you're in your deeper leagues now with the bye weeks coming up as well, because Rico Dowdle is somebody who is seeing more usage. Every week of the season, this Panthers offense is giving more and more touches to Rico Dowdle, who did not sign that big of a contract this offseason compared to the contract extension Chuba Hubbard got to the end of last year, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at least right now. Now, Chuba Hubbard, you watch this game, 17 carries compared to just 10 for Rico Dowdle. Okay, he's still the lead back, or at least it appears that way. But Dowdle still did see 10 carries in this game. Dowdle did get the touchdown in this game as well in the red zone. He adds a reception in this one, and at the end of the day, in this game, 36 snaps for Chuba Hubbard, 23 for Rico Dowdle, rookie 4th-round pick Trevor Etienne, Travis Etienne's brother, just 2 snaps. But more importantly, you could see from Ryan Heat's tweet right here, the Panthers backfield has meaningfully shifted away from Chuba Hubbard each of the past 2 weeks. Rico Dowdle received all 3 of the backfield carries inside the 10-yard line this week. One of them went for a touchdown, and Dowdle got both of those carries last week. So not only is Rico Dowdle's overall touches and snaps increasing, right? Once again, he gets 10 carries in this game, 17 to Chuba Hubbard. That's not a backup role. That's a guy who's right there as like a 45-55 backfield. He's now seeing more snaps and touches, and he's getting the goal line and red zone usage. If Chuba Hubbard's not known as a great pass catching running back, and now he's not getting the goal line and red zone usage, he's not really going to be valuable for you in fantasy, while Rico Dowdle is slowly trending up. In my opinion, this is still Hubbard's backfield, but Rico Dowdle is quickly rising. He's one of the best handcuffs, and now he's slowly becoming a flex option after literally seeing 11 touches last week and finding the end zone and getting all now the goal line and red zone usage. Now, similar things can be said about this next running back, and that man's name is Blake Corum, because look, this one is very simple. He basically looks better than Kyren Williams right now. I would say that this past week was Kyren Williams' best game, right? 4.7 yards per carry, had 20 carries, commanding RB1 on this team, 94 yards. But Blake Corum, once again, on just 8 touches, 53 yards, 6.6 yards per attempt. He's now looked efficient dating back to the preseason this year. He's looked efficient in all 3 regular season games. He looks really good right now, but let's not get it twisted. He is still the clear-cut RB2 in this backfield. Kyren played 50 snaps compared to Blake Corum playing just 16 this past week. Kyren ran 18 routes, Corum just 3, right? So this is still Kyren Williams' backfield. There was a little bit of a scare with the red zone usage back in week 2. That seems to be just a blimp on the radar right now, because Kyren is still dominating this backfield, and we know what a healthy Kyren Williams does year in and year out. I mean, you saw it last year. He saw over 300 touches. I will still say I'm not interested in having Kyren Williams on my fantasy teams. I'd still be trying to sell high on him based on just what's happening right now. This is what Kyren did last year, 300 attempts, 1,300 yards, but I will say Corum is getting more usage than he did last year. Devontae Adams is still seeing red zone targets, and Kyren Williams is just not getting as much opportunities in those key areas that he did last year through 3 weeks. This year, he's still a sell for me, but this usage in Corum just being extremely efficient is just a reminder that he is a top 5 handcuff in fantasy right now. The Rams offense looks fantastic. Yeah, they blew that game against the Eagles in week 3, but the offense still looks fantastic. And if Corum was to ever step into a bigger role because Kyren misses time, like let's say James Conner just went down this past week, knock on wood, we don't want that to happen. But if Kyren was forced to miss some time, Corum's probably stepping into a role where he's going to see all the opportunities, because we don't have to worry about the rookie Jarquez Hunter right now. Jarquez Hunter is not playing football right now for the Rams. The rookie who got a lot of hype in the preseason and training camp, 50 snaps for Kyren, 16 for Corum in week 3, 0 for Jarquez Hunter. If indeed Kyren Williams was to go down, it would be all the Blake Corum show, at least in my opinion. All right, now this next guy I just want to remind you about, because people always forget about players on IR. Just a reminder that Tyjae Spears is eligible to return in week 5 for the Tennessee Titans in a backfield where, as of right now, like let's not forget what Tyjae Spears did last year when he played at least 50% of the snaps in 3 games. In those games, he averaged over 15 touches, over 4 catches, and 87 total yards per game. And during that stretch, he was averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. He was a top 10 running back. Now, when he does come back, of course, his backfield is still going to have Tony Pollard, as it has for last year in the first 3 weeks this year. But as Tony Pollard was last year in the first 3 games this year, he's been inefficient. This past week, 16 more carries, 45 more yards, just 2.8 yards per carry. I mean, Tony Pollard has been grossly inefficient this year. It's kind of disgusting. So again, this is just a reminder that Tyjae Spears is eligible to return soon. He's available in over 80% of fantasy leagues. Put him in an IR spot if you can. If you don't have one in your league or it's already filled, just add him and stash him and see what happens these next few weeks. Now, before we get into the next player you should add before your friends do, just a reminder, football is back, and so is your chance to cash in like never before. With my partners, DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, and your game day instincts can help you score real money fast. So now here's what you need to know. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite quarterbacks, and unlock the upside every snap brings. And the better your calls, the bigger the payouts. Look, there's no gimmicks, no convoluted rules. It's just you, your reads, and your shot at big returns. Now, here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. So all that's left for you to do is download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code SAL, make the right call, and ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Now, I know this is a running back video, but I want to quickly just touch on a couple of tight ends who stood out or stand out heading into week 4. One of them is Isaiah Likely. This is a guy who was very close to playing. He practiced in limited fashion all week. Heading into week 3, didn't end up suiting up, or by the time you're watching this, I'm recording this before Monday Night Football. He's not playing. He's already ruled out for Monday Night Football week 3. But there's a good chance by the time week 4 comes, Isaiah Likely is active, sees a significant role in a top 5 offense in the NFL, and maybe quickly becomes a starter in this offense because, boy oh boy, Mark Andrews has looked terrible so far through the first 2 weeks of the season. His fantasy points per game, 1.5, 1.4. His total yards this year, 5 and 2. He has 7 total yards on 2 catches this year. Now, again, I'm recording this before Monday Night Football. Maybe Mark Andrews goes out there, has 6 catches, 60 yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns, and just makes me look silly, right? But either way, whatever Mark Andrews does tonight, I don't think he's going to do that, but whatever he does tonight, Isaiah Likely is likely to return in week 4, and this is a guy who has a lot of upside, a young, talented tight end. I mean, between the two of them right now, no matter what Mark Andrews does right now, this is not the prime Mark Andrews anymore. Isaiah Likely last year looked like the better player down the stretch. Meanwhile, Mark Andrews was dropping a lot of passes. They're both now in a contract year, and all indications are that the Ravens are prioritizing signing tight end Isaiah Likely, according to The Athletic, over Mark Andrews, right? So this is a guy that Isaiah Likely, if they want to sign him over Mark Andrews, that report came out 2 weeks ago, so it's a relevant report. It probably means they're going to give their younger tight end more opportunities this year, especially since the older veteran Mark Andrews is not producing. So Isaiah Likely available in over 80% of leagues. People have forgotten about this guy. Go stash him. And then the priority tight end ad right now, assuming Juwan Johnson is still not on your waiver wires, as he shouldn't be, is Hunter Henry. You should add him over Harold Fandon. You should add him over all these other guys. Chigakonku right now, because he's the guy who's currently producing. For the second week out of 2, the second game out of 2. Let's try that again, Sal. Sorry, I'm sick if you haven't been able to hear. For the second time this season out of 3 games, we got it. Hunter Henry has a solid game. I would say a great game this time. Week 1 was solid. 8 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. This was a game where they only scored 14 points. He had both of the touchdowns. If we take out Ramondre Stevenson and Austin Hooper and we look at the next closest receiver on the Patriots, it's Kayshon Boutte. Just 2 catches, 28 yards. Clearly, this is Hunter Henry's team on an offense where there are no good wide receivers. Stefon Diggs this past week, we didn't even mention him. Look at Stefon Diggs. 3 catches, 23 yards. He was trending up last week after having like a 5+ catch game. Not this week. Stefon Diggs kind of looks like at this point a 31-year-old coming off a torn ACL. The rookie Kyle Williams isn't doing much. Demario Douglas isn't doing much. Kayshon Boutte stepping up here and there for a splash player too, but he only has 3 total catches over the past 2 weeks. This offense right now is all Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry came out there this past week. He played 60 snaps. He ran 35 routes, the most on the team. He saw 10 targets, easily the most on the team, double anybody else. Again, this is a guy who led the team in targets and receptions last year with Drake May. Drake May loves throwing to Hunter Henry. We've seen that for 2 of the first 3 weeks this season. New offense, they're getting the tight ends involved. Hunter Henry is standing out as somebody who is a priority add on waivers behind Trey Benson this week. So these are the running backs and a couple of tight ends you should be targeting before your friends do. Now, if you want to see the wide receiver version of this video, it's going to be up on Tuesday morning, so maybe it's not out yet, but once it's out, it'll be right here. This is going to be the 7 wide receivers you need to add. And by the way, so many wide receiver injuries this past week, key wide receiver injuries, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans. This video is one you're going to want to watch.